So you might have noticed, but some pretty crazy things have been going on with the Sony A7R IV, and it started off with some pretty amazing sales that were so good, I actually picked one up. And what that now means is that I own one of the last Sony A7R IV cameras because this has officially been discontinued. So here's what happened to the Sony A7R IV. Now, if you guys own this camera or thinking of picking one up, I do have a help guide going over every different menu item in this entire camera, setting it up, what they mean, all of my tips and everything like that. So you can go ahead and check that out. I'll leave links below. Also some videos going over hacks and everything like that for this. Links up there and links down below. So go ahead and check that out. You know, we first got wind that there might be something changing with the rear LCD screen probably about a month ago. It was very quiet, and Sony didn't announce this with any kind of press release or anything like that. I'm not sure if they wanted to keep this completely hush or come out with a completely different camera, but they really didn't seem to decide. And what that means is that we are in a huge mess with this camera right now. So the result is, if you go and search for this camera right now at your favorite reseller, it will most likely show up as discontinued. Or you might find a couple different names for this camera now, because more confusion, that's always better. So now you will see the Sony A7R IVA, which, let's be honest, the last thing that Sony needed in its name was another letter in it. And we have also found versions that said just updated version of this camera. So Sony A7R IV updated version, which isn't really clear either. We don't know what's updated. Is this a brand new model? Is it not? However, if you are lucky enough to actually pick up the new version, this is what's going to be new about it. So not a whole lot, actually. What you will find is we now have a higher resolution version of the screen, and it is actually going from about 1.44 million dots up to about 2.3 million dots. The good news is that I've always kind of knocked on Sony for their screens on the back of these cameras. The build is now very good, with one exception, and that's going to be this rear screen. It still just doesn't have the resolution of the competition. It's smaller. The touch interface doesn't at all work with this, so it's only tap to focus, and even that tap to focus is a little laggy and slow and doesn't really work as well in video compared to the competition. So for me, that back screen is still that one hardware limitation. They just were never that great compared to the competition out there, and that is coming from Sony, a manufacturer of some of the best TV screens, phone screens on the market. It just kind of fell out of place that their rear LCD screens were not that great, especially because they make some of the highest resolution viewfinders on the market as well. It will be the exact same size, and as far as I know, we don't have any updates in like contrast or brightness or anything like that. So mostly, as of now, what we know is that you will just see an update in resolution on the rear LCD screen. The other thing you might notice is that the logo that used to appear on the back of the screen is now gone. What's interesting is it never bothered me on this camera, but the Sony A7S, when I first got review models of this camera in, it actually had a logo at the back. The problem is, if you ever flip this around, it now became upside down. It was really annoying on that camera. At some point between when they got us review models and these final production ones, they got rid of that logo on the screen. So now we are also seeing that logo removed from the R4A. Another thing that's kind of interesting is that both the A7S III and the A1 came out after the R4 and still use the 1.44 million dot resolution version of the LCD screen. So now the A7R IV is going to come with the highest resolution screen of any of these cameras. So here's what that means for you. If you are shopping for this camera today, it is almost impossible to get one. Either the old one discontinued or the new one is not quite out in stock yet. It's almost impossible to get an A7R IV right now. Another thing is going on with the pricing of these cameras. So the Sony A7R IVs, they were technically priced at $3,500, but this camera's been out for a while now. So it was pretty easy to find these priced at $3,000 and below, and used cameras were going about $500 cheaper than that at $2,500. Now these new cameras are being listed at $3,500, so back at that original price with no sales or discounts or anything like that. And what that means is that if you're brand new trying to get in and buy this camera, it is going to cost a lot more unless these sales start picking up really quickly on this new updated version of the camera. Also, you're probably going to see a lot happening with the used market, because right now it is $1,000 less than a brand new version of this camera that you can't even really buy right now. So I expect a lot more A7R4s to start showing up and those used prices to start going up as well on these cameras. But let me know what you guys think about this. I'm not really excited about the way that Sony handled this. It's not really clear. If you're someone who watched the Sony A7R4 review, want to buy the camera, you go into Amazon, type that in, and now it says A7R4A or updated version, and you don't know what that is, what's updated about it. There is no clarification from Sony exactly what they've changed in this. The only thing is going to be that slight bump in resolution on the screen, but they have a completely new model for it. It's really confusing. I wish there was a little bit more clarification on that, but let me know your thoughts below if you're interested in getting the camera. Again, check out the full review and the guide and all the help stuff that we've got on the camera. A whole bunch of really cool videos coming up, guys. So I hope you're doing amazing, and I'll see you soon in a new video.